At the moment of recording this, I'm attempting to beat Cuphead. This will be the first video of a mini-series, and I might attempt to beat it on expert mode in the future. So I booted up Cuphead, played the tutorial, made myself familiar with the controls, and started the first run and gun level. I had some difficulties, as you could see from my first attempt, but I completed it in a relatively short amount of time and went on to fight the vegetable bosses. The vegetable bosses, or root pack as they're actually called, consist of three phases: the potato, the onion, and the carrot. And to be honest, there's not really much to tell. It was the first boss, so it was really easy. The second boss I chose to fight is cuphead. This blue ball slime also has three phases. He starts off small and bounces around the area. Sometimes he will try to headbutt you, but luckily you can duck under that while still shooting him. By the way, the spread shot is really good for this fight. When you damage him enough, he takes a pill and then he becomes bigger. So I'm assuming that's not an Altoid. Anyway, apart from covering a larger area, his headbutt also changed into a sucker punch, but luckily you can still duck under that. In his third phase he turns into a tombstone and he slides through the level, attacking you by slamming his face into the ground. I use the lobber here to try to make him slide into the damage. Apart from that, the most important thing here is to dash away when you notice he's about to slam his face into the ground. Other than that, this fight was also quite easy. Along the way, I took on the parry challenge, where you have to parry all the ghosts before they attack the vase. For completing this, I get a super, which you will see me using in the next fight. The third boss or bosses that I faced were the frogs or Ribby and Croaks. The frogs have, you guessed it, three phases. I'm starting to see a pattern here. The first phase is a little different from the other bosses we have seen. They can do two different attacks. They can either shoot fireflies, who took their name a little too literally, or they throw fire punches that fly through the air. In the second phase, they trap you in the middle of the arena. Whilst one of the frogs turns into an air fan, the other shoots bouncing spheres. Yeah, I really have no other way of describing them. Then for the final phase, one of the frogs swallows the other and they turn into a slot machine. The slot machine will spit coins at you and you have to parry the lever in order to spin the slots. This can result in three phases: the tiger, the snake or the bull. With the tiger you have to jump between the orange balls while dodging the sliding discs. The snake has a lot of discs and you have to jump between them. The bull essentially covers one half of the screen, so you have to make sure you jump either under or over the disc. Although the difficulty ramped up quite a bit, this took almost the same time for me to complete as cuphead. The newly obtained super and the roundabout really made this fight doable. By now you might think that this was really trivial, and to be fair, until this point it was easier than I expected. But then the difficulty took off to new heights, literally. Because for the moon boss, aka Hilda Burke, we get introduced to a new mechanic, the plane. The fight for this boss is even more complicated, because why would it be simple, right? Besides becoming a plane and having only two moves, there are, you guessed it, five phases: the Zeppelin, the Taurus, the Gemini, the Sagittarius, and the final moon phase. First off, Hilda becomes a Zeppelin on a tricycle, because yeah, sure I guess. During this phase, she will attack you by laughing at you. I didn't laugh that much. This fight was very painful, but more about that later. Also, during every phase except for the last one, small planes will come in and shoot at you. In the second phase she becomes a Taurus, which isn't that big of a problem. Just dodge the charge and you'll be fine. She will then turn back into a Zeppelin, and she has a new move where she shoots tornadoes at you. In the next phase she can either transform into the Gemini or the Sagittarius. And let me tell you, you want the Gemini, because the Sagittarius is much more difficult. During the Gemini phase, Hilda transforms into twins who can summon a vortex that shoots bullets for a full circle. It took me some time to learn the pattern, but then I got through it consistently. If Hilda feels like being a Sagittarius, she transforms into a Centaur who will shoot arrows at you. This will also spawn 3 homing stars, which you can destroy. That is, in theory, because I didn't succeed in destroying them all a single time, as you can see from this clip. Also, since when are you a blimp? A blimp and a zeppelin are not the same. Get your facts straight, Hilda. I'm sorry, but this fight became personal. Because I died. And I mean, I died a lot.
Godverdomme. Yo, maar hoezo? Maar... Wat? Nee, nee, nee. Nee, joh.
In her final phase, she turns into the moon, or half a moon, as she likes to mention explicitly. Here, she forces you to stay on the left side of the level, while stars will constantly fly across the screen. She will also try to headbutt you, but this is a perfect moment to use your E-axis, since the rockets will hit her multiple times this way. I found this more useful than using the super, which is just a bigger bomb in the dogfights. UFOs will also spawn during this phase. The strategy here is to use the dash button to fly faster past the red UFOs and wait for the gold UFOs to use their beams before passing them. And then, after many failed attempts, this happened.
Ja, ja, ja. Geen gezeik. No damage. Fuck this boss.
And then it was time for the second run and gun level. This is quite a ramp up in difficulty compared to the first one, but it's also quite doable with the experience you have at this point. This level gave me some difficulty, but I managed to finish it in about 30 minutes. I won't talk too long about it because the video is already getting fairly long. But I still was very happy finishing it, as you can hear from my reaction.
Ja? Yes! Yes, 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 yes. Lekker!
And then the final boss stood before me. The level I had attempted 2 times between trying to beat Hilda Berg, but which I deemed impossible. The level I had feared for a long time, and now it was the only thing standing between me and World 2. Cagney Carnation. In his first phase he has multiple attacks which he randomly chooses. He either covers the bottom or top half of the screen by launching at you. He can summon a boomerang with his hands, which I thought was a pair of slippers, and I only just found out that's a sycamore seed, which makes more sense. Or he summons 3 seeds that will fly at the place you were just standing. He can become a Gatling gun which shoots 3 types of seeds which will each do something differently, and this is only phase 1. In phase 2 he covers the ground with vines, which forces you to stand on the platforms. The vines will go through the platforms, making it impossible for you to stand on that platform. And whilst this is happening, he will shoot seeds at you, which are very hard to dodge given the situation you are in. This would be the hardest boss I have faced so far. Or so I thought. Because in actuality, after only 5 attempts, this happened.
Oh, fuck. That was very bad. What the fuck? Already? What the? This wasn't hard, what the fuck?